All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Again, today's session is going to be focused around boosting your customer support with Salesforce and AI. Before I get into anything, I just really wanted to thank from our team to yours, everyone's time in being here. I know you guys are all very busy. I'd like to get into today's speakers, so I'll introduce myself. My name is Nathaniel Bruhn. I am an account executive here at Agile Cloud Consulting. I previously actually worked at Salesforce for a little under 6 years before making the move. And over that time, I've really helped a lot of organizations improve their customer service departments and really looking forward to doing a similar thing here at Agile and making that impact. Alongside myself, we've got Eric Magnuson. He's one of our solution engineers, and he's going to be ultimately guiding a majority of today's conversation as we delve into our Agentforce product demonstration. I do want to take a moment and just quickly share a little bit of background on Agile Cloud Consulting. A large reason for myself making a move to Agile was really simply due to their core values and their deep breadth of expertise. Collectively, Agile Cloud holds about 262 certifications and has been named Inc. 5000's best place to work 2 years in a row. Agile's grown quite a bit, actually, slowly but responsibly over the last couple of years. And while our primary practice is centered around Salesforce, we have extended certifications for technologies around Snowflake, AWS, Google, Sprout Social, and those are just a couple to name a few. Now that I've shared a little bit about who we are, I will quickly address what we offer. As mentioned before, while we are a heavy Salesforce practice, we also can help organizations in their extended business needs, whether it be application development work for apps or websites. We also can provide crucial change management and governance services to ensure organizations post-implementation can see tangible value from their investments. This is an area that is actually a pretty massive focus for us, and we're going to be hosting an adoption webinar in July. I'd definitely recommend joining if you have the availability. I want to touch quickly on an organization that we've done quite a bit of work with as it relates to Agentforce. The organization is called BOMA. They're a leading international association. They're seeking modernization of their tech stack by replacing their IMIS and higher logic with Salesforce to streamline their member engagement, financing, and membership. So Agile Cloud Consulting actually helped them implement an AI-powered Agentforce chatbot for scalable membership support. They helped migrate BOMA to unified Salesforce environment by leveraging Experience Cloud and integrated Sage Incontact for their financial processes. Ultimately, this transformation enhanced operational efficiency, improved the organization's self-service capabilities, and positioned BOMA as an industry leader in an AI-driven member engagement with strong foundation in future growth and innovation. The key highlights of Agile's work for them is we stood up their Agile agent within 2 weeks, which is really quick, and we were able to impact their overall case volume, reduced it by 20 to 30% for their tier one support. So how we were able to do this is we achieved this through Agentforce having the ability to scrape their website, leverage PDF FAQs, and if there is an issue that needs to be resolved or isn't able to be resolved by the agent, have it escalated and a case created for human engagement. So a little bit of background. We've got some expertise here and looking forward to delving in a little bit deeper. This next slide, I'm going to pass the baton over to Eric as we get into a little bit more of the meat and potatoes.
All right, thank you, Nate. And maybe after this webinar, if anyone is really curious, you can go to boma.org, BOMA.org, and you'll see that little what I'm going to show you in the demo is what you'll see on their website, which is that little chat icon in the lower right, and it's live. Anyone could use BOMA's Agentforce chat implementation that Agile Cloud set up. So our goal with the demo is to show you how you can use AI to really resolve like common support questions in ways that you couldn't before without sacrificing the accuracy of the answers and that customers will enjoy using. So without sacrificing customer experience. We're going to be talking about things like answering product related questions that would usually require searching through a manual. Our example today is going to be a product manufacturing company. Uh, helping customers find the right service center or right location to take their product if they need some service, and giving frontline support teams more time ultimately to focus on higher value interactions with customers. Again, like sort of that tier one, taking care of that tier one level of support. Now, what makes this different from traditional chatbots and what is that it's not limited to like a structured decision tree. It's really, it's like it's not chat GPT, but it's functions much like chat GPT, but when in a very constrained way that is specific to your company and your, in this case, example, products. And it's powered by Agentforce, Salesforce Agentforce, and it's pulling from all the knowledge you can provide it, such as product documents, PDFs, policy documents, FAQs. It even can extract information from your public website. So, and then behind the scenes, the technology that's supporting this is Salesforce Data Cloud, which is a function, a feature of Salesforce that operates to kind of structure that information in ways that makes it accessible to the AI, and helps the AI make sense of that information. Salesforce Knowledge and Flows, which are used to automate certain steps in these processes, such as like a guided intake for cases, which leads to ultimately to better resolution. And we're also leveraging case classification and routing. That means that it sort of helps the humans that ultimately operate on the case, helps them understand the context more readily and get to that resolution more quickly. So what we're going to show isn't just a chatbot, it's a scalable, intelligent support experience that helps your company deliver faster, smarter service without increasing headcount. So, all right, let's get into the actual demo. And so what we're looking at right now is Agentforce in action with a fictional company called Nexevent. They manufacture equipment, they provide support to their customers, they have a website, and they've got Agentforce down here in the lower right. It's embedded here. Now it can be embedded in your live website. Like I mentioned, boma.org, it's in their live public website. Agentforce is embedded and accessible on any page, and allows your customers to ask their questions in a natural language. So we'll start with a question. Let's ask it some questions, and I'll try to zoom in here to give you a better. For those of you on smaller screens, we realized this earlier when we were testing. Like if you're people on phones, they want to. This will be helpful. All right. So let's say you want to ask the question, where can I get my NX drive? And this company manufactures a product called NX Drive, serviced near Houston. Asking that question sends it to Agentforce. It's doing its interpretation of that and coming up with an answer in real time here, which is the answer is you can get your NX Drive serviced at our Dallas, Texas location. Great. Dallas is the closest service center that Agentforce in this case figured it out. One, they figured out the intent of the question, which is service related, and the product is and the product, and figured out where the nearest service center is to Houston, which happens to be Dallas. Okay, so it did a bunch of logic things there that are not something that you would get typically from a branching logic old school chatbot. So that's pretty powerful. And it got that by scraping information from the public website. Okay, so that was an example where we fed it information from a website. It used that in its logic engine to figure this answer out. Well, let's try a more technical question related to a specific product. How do I recalibrate the environmental sensors of the NX Sense platform? So again, more technical and specific to one of the products that we sell. Just take a moment. It's not instant exactly, but it's pretty darn fast because what it's actually doing here is giving us an answer that is really specific to that product being asked about and providing step-by-step instructions that are not they didn't make this up. It pulled these instructions explicitly from the documentation that relate to the NXSense platform. So in this case, we fed it the PDFs of the manuals. Those were then loaded into Data Cloud and now made available by the AI to figure out which section of the documentation um, to draw from for the answer. Again, that's a great tier one example of a tip not uncommon support question. Finally, let's ask a broader. This is just a last type of question here, which is a broad, more of an industry question. So, what kind of preventative maintenance is recommended for modular equipment? It's not specific to any of our product lines. It's just broadly asking about modular equipment and preventative maintenance. There is content that we've given the AI that relates in specific terms around products. The AI in this case is able to interpret the broad context being asked about, preventative maintenance, and deliver instructions here around what to do, steps that are generally applicable. So it was able to go from answer really specific product questions and as well interpret broader questions that aren't specific to any product, but draw that from specific product documentation. So great. These are sort of answers that a would very commonly go to a support agent who would kind of draw from a knowledge base to answer them, and we just save that time. Um, Let me just do this one different way, just to show you what I think is a kind of cool capability here, which is what if it's not English? What if someone asked that question in Spanish or in this case French? Well, Agentforce knows what language you just asked it in and provided an answer that was translated to the language you clearly prefer because you asked the question that in that language. Now, the source documentation, the manuals that it drew this content from are all in English. We only gave it English. It did that translation on the fly for us. So this is just the sort of future. This is the future that we're all kind of hoping to live into here, where you have you didn't have to do the translation. You didn't have to invent any of this. It's all baked into Salesforce now and really powerful. Okay, so those are like the little Agentforce glimpses we wanted to give you as it pertains to really handling some of the frontline tier one support requests that a company might face. If it was a more complex question, I was answering questions we clearly could answer. If it didn't know how to answer it or it had instructions that for this type of question, escalate. So there's lots of different ways that we can actually take someone out of this agent interface and escalate it to a person through other channels, such as a case. And there's functionality to do that. It can be quite smart about how it routes that way to a person. And through triggering. And again, we talked about be able to actually add context, so have that sort of history of what the questions were asked in advance of hitting that mark where we want to escalate to a human. And the net result of this that we're seeing, and this was mentioned by Nate earlier with the BOMA example, is it's 20 to 30% of cases being deflected right away, and that's with a really modest couple weeks invested in getting it stood up um, for an organization and embedded on their website. And then for the escalated cases, because we're adding so much context to the question being asked, both like who they are and what products they have, as well as maybe what questions they had been answering in advance of the question that ultimately escalated to a person, that context really helps your agents go faster as well and answer the questions because they're getting more they can answer better when they have that context. So this is not just about automating support. It's about delivering smarter support, smarter service with the people you have. And so with Agentforce, we're really seeing that you're able to help. We're helping our customers meet their customers where they are and resolve the questions and issues faster. And again, that's helping you do more with the team you already have in that case. All right, and that's a bit of the show and tell around Agentforce. I hope you learned a little bit there. There's so much more that we could be talking about, but with that, I'll hand it back over to Nate.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah, thank you. Endless use cases. Really appreciate everyone's time. We're going to be sharing out this recording link after, so you'll be able to access it. I would encourage anyone to, that's either looking to identify use cases, validate use cases, or they're currently looking to actually implement Agentforce. So just knock on our door and connect with us. Eric and I would be more than happy to share some of our experiences working with other organizations and just make sure that you guys are on the right path. So really appreciate everyone's time today.